Hi, I'm Trent. I was and am responsible for the camera work of this production. Overall, I feel as though the organisation and logistics of assembling as a group, the renting of all the necessary cameras and miscellaneous paraphernalia/equipment, as well as arranging access to two principal shooting locations, was all relatively pain-free and culminated quite harmoniously. Though I wouldn't exactly say the project went off without a single hitch. In fact, there were a few minor hindrances that inhibited our productivity, though mostly affecting us in our individual capacities and respective roles, but also at times the entire group as a whole. In my own capacity as Director of Principal Photography and Cinematography, meaning I man the camera, I noted that there were a couple of pre-existing mechanical faults with the tripod that we had rented, which made framing the shots, let's say, interesting. Namely, bearing race of the swivel or oscillating mechanism, I don't know what it's called particularly, was seriously flogged out, clearly through excessive tightening over time, which meant the stability of the camera was greatly compromised. It would tend to wobble to and fro whenever interfered with. Effectively, this meant having to consciously reframe the shot before each new take, which after a while became very tedious. Another inconvenience of note was the inability to properly focus the camera in the newsroom, be it manually or automatically. Whilst I'm not exactly sure what the difficulty was per se, I do suspect that the strong overhead lighting played a contributory factor, possibly wreaking havoc on the camera's ISO sensors or what have you. The effect of this was that all the footage captured in that particular location would have sort of an unintentional soft focus. Granted, it isn't necessarily a faux pas or a bad thing, as it were, as the soft focus is actually a known convention in cinematography that is often utilised in television news broadcasting, particularly when depicting female news broadcasters. Lastly, we were unable to film on the preferred Canon DSLR camera as originally intended, as I was effectively unable to make a booking on the day of filming. Well, that's not entirely true. Being in charge of the principal photography was the only group member qualified to handle said camera, thereby the only person capable of making a scheduled booking. I had decidedly chosen not to make any further attempt to procure said camera after a minor disagreement with Jonathan about how to go about doing so, as I believed it completely unreasonable and therefore categorically unacceptable to not be able to schedule a booking in person, and that's 2 or 3 days advance, mind you. Though I don't honestly think the lack of the DSLR affected the production quality for the worse, if that was even possible. If anything, I think it helped reinforce the amateur aesthetic in keeping with the parodic nature of the production. Probably what I would consider to be the most substantial setback was something that affected the entire team, and thereby inadvertently the entire production, which was drastic artistic differences in regarding to the script. It was my belief, and still is, that the chosen script was sorely lacking in genuine humour and exhibited no linear narrative whatsoever. I've read funnier Minty's rappers, to put it one way. I also happen to know for a fact that I was not the only person in that group with that line of thinking. Though sadly, I was the only person with enough gastric fortitude and artistic integrity to say as much. So my biggest regret would probably have to be not being more assertive when proposing we ought to rework the script, as I think the script was definitely our greatest failing. Yeah, and that's pretty much all I've got to say on the matter. I hope you enjoyed our production. Enjoyed is a strong word. I hope you tolerated our production. Thank you.